at Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Disney Parks. Lubbock, Texas United Spirit Arena, the site for this Big 12 matchup between number 9 Kansas, as hot as anyone in the country perhaps right now, taking on the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. 3 teams have already wrapped up byes in the first round of the Big 12 tournament: Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. The Jayhawks now 13-1 in conference play. Texas Tech running out of time to pull off that major upset. Their final home game, this would be the night. Terry Gannon along with Stephen Bardo, glad to have you with us. Take you back a week. If I'd have told you that Kansas would be playing to wrap up a share of the Big 12 regular season tonight, you'd say, you're crazy. Oklahoma, Blake Griffin. What a week it's been for the Jayhawks. What a year for Bill Self.
Probably the most consistent effort that we've seen in the Big 12 Conference and maybe around the country. 11th youngest team in the nation are the Kansas Jayhawks, and they're doing a fantastic job of consistency throughout the season.
Check out our Star Watch, and for Kansas, the star for them, the leader for them throughout the year, Sharon Collins, and Alan Voskuhl, the man who's got to step up, open things up from the outside for Texas Tech.
Alan Voskuhl, one of the better three-point shooters in conference play, has to have a career night tonight. And Sharon Collins, you see his numbers there. He has been outstanding down the stretch for Kansas.
Check out the starting lineups. A familiar starting 5 for the Jayhawks: Sharon Collins, Brady Morningstar at the guards, Tyshawn Taylor, a terrific freshman, Marcus Morris, also a first-year player, Cole Aldridge, maybe the most improved player in college basketball this year, John Robertson coming off a big game against Oklahoma on Saturday. Voskuhl, Nico Corey can light it up in a hurry. Lewandowski inside, a freshman, and Michael Prince on senior night. Here in Lubbock, Texas Tech 2-12 in Big 12 play. Kansas 24-5 overall. And Stephen coming off of wins against Oklahoma, albeit without Blake Griffin, but then follows that up with a big effort against Missouri and avenging their earlier loss in the Big 12.
And you see right there, put themselves in position for yet another Big 12 championship. Amazing.
It would be the Jayhawks' 5th in a row. But the last 2 matchups here in Lubbock have gone to Texas Tech. 4 years ago, 2 years ago, won a double overtime game, and the one 2 years ago was won on the final possession by the Red Raiders. So Pat Knight hoping to pull that upset off again in his first full season as the head coach. And you're going to have the guards jump ball now. Jump center. You got Morningstar and Robertson. Kind of a do-over. Jayhawks control the opening tip. Why are they playing so well right now?
The young man with the basketball that initiated the offense, Sharon Collins, has been a beast. These are the words of Coach Bill Self. This young man has taken this team on his shoulders and really been a great leader.
They go to Morris on the first possession. There's the miss. Robertson brings it up for the Red Raiders. One-on-one with Sharon Collins. That'll be a great matchup to watch tonight.
Well, we talked about his offense in the open, talking about Sharon Collins, but Willie Warren of Oklahoma was going crazy in the game against Kansas. Sharon Collins switches over to him, shuts him down for the rest of the first half.
Nico Corey, who won a national junior college championship, off the heel, gets the roll on the opening possession for Texas Tech. He can score in bunches.
Yeah, it's a very good athlete as well, so he can find his own shot in a half-court setting, but also get out on the break.
Marcus Morris will go to the free throw line. The foul on the reach-in, Nico Corey's first. Bill Self, 166 wins at Kansas, 373 overall. Before, and you and I were talking this afternoon at shoot-around. What is he, 44 years old?
44, Terry.
So before it's all over,
he's going to be right up there with the Boeheims and the Calhouns and the Krzyzewskis with total number of wins. He's just had an amazing string in 3 different schools: Tulsa, Illinois, and now Kansas. So great consistency from Bill Self.
All 3 to the Elite 8 and beyond, of course, with the Kansas Jayhawks last season. Morris gets the second one. So the first 2 possessions, the Jayhawks have said, you know what, we're going to establish Marcus Morris down low on the block. Well, Corey, he establishes himself. He's 2 for 2. Walking violation against Kansas, and Texas Tech has the basketball. Pat Knight up and sure. He had a nice chat with the officials before the game. You know, he had some problems, got suspended for the one game because of his comments after a game about the officiating. But 11-6 at home. They've been pretty good here at United Spirit Arena.
Well, they're a scrappy bunch, and they will not quit. We did the game a couple weeks ago, Terry. Oklahoma State is up 25 in the second half. They were able to come back and make a game of it. Cut the lead into 6 before they lost.
Lewandowski with a walking violation. And you have to give credit to the head coach when a team doesn't give up when they're down 25 points with about 15 minutes left in the game. I saw them Saturday here against Oklahoma. They had 4 possessions to try to take the lead midway through the second half and couldn't knock down a key shot, but they were right there.
Well, Jeff Capel of Oklahoma had some very good things to say about them as well. Very scrappy bunch.
Vasco for 3, and he's the man who missed 3 in a row against Oklahoma, trying to make up for that on senior night. Quick 30-second timeout taken by Bill Self. So the opening moments of this Big 12 matchup, Bill Self not happy at all with the effort. Quick start for Texas Tech. They're up 7-1, and Bill Self is hoarse right now from that last time out.
Well, you knew this would be a trap game, Terry. They have a chance to clinch at least a share of the Big 12 title. And you come to a team that's only won 2 games, a natural tendency is to relax.
But again, Texas Tech has been in games lately. They've had little 4-minute, 5-minute spurts where they have not played well or couldn't knock down shots like Vasco at that time. But they have been in games. They're a dangerous team at home tonight. Collins tries it again and is short this time. And the rebound to Lewandowski.
Lewandowski showing you some guard skills, initiating the secondary break that time.
Corey now 2 for 3, tipped out to Taylor. The Jayhawks ice cold to start. They're 0 for 5 from the floor. Reach in on Lewandowski, his first.
Well, Kansas typically likes to establish the interior early. They want to go inside to Aldridge and Morris to establish maybe a double team situation from Texas Tech to kick out to an open 3.
Texas Tech losers of 6 in a row. They've lost 10 of their last 11. Where the Jayhawks have won 5 in a row and 13 of their last 14. Only 1 loss since conference play started. And back they lost to Michigan State on January 10th. And the only loss since then was to Missouri on the road.
And that Missouri game, Terry, they really controlled it for 36 minutes of that game.
They did. Tyshawn Taylor quickly to the baseline, the freshman from Hoboken, New Jersey, with the bucket. And he's been terrific, especially over the last month or so. Morningstar clears and leads the break. Tough shot to follow by Morris.
Hey, I like Kansas's aggressiveness here. They got off to a slow start, but Terry, they continue to go to the rim. Good things happen when you get penetration at the basket.
Marcus Morris, another freshman from Philadelphia. Vasco eyes it, that's a deuce. The foot was on the line, but he gets it over Morningstar.
Wow, that's a tough shot. Morningstar was inside of his jersey that time, and Vasco still got that jumper to go.
Had to reload, too.
Yes, he did.
Tough to have any rhythm. Morris again operates on the block and off the heel. The rebound to Texas Tech. And the foul on the Jayhawks. So we'll go the other way when we come back. 15:49 here in the first half.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Disney Parks, where you're invited to celebrate life's special moments. What will you celebrate? And in part by the most critically acclaimed Volkswagen ever, the all-new CC.
Ryan Burr in studio, Sports Center in-game. Missouri 17-0 at home this season, hosting Oklahoma today. Lions, the miss JT Tiller, the easy putback, and the Tigers right now 32-21 over Oklahoma. Terry and Steven.
Ryan, thank you. Back here, another Big 12 matchup. Texas Tech with the lead over Kansas. Jayhawks atop the race right now. But how about that race? You got Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, the top 3 teams. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament, right, in that 4th and 5th, if the conference gets a 5th team. Very much up in the air right now.
Yeah, you've got a jumble of teams. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. You look at Texas A&M in there as well.
Robertson with the three. So they're red hot to start the game here at home.
Well, they're loose, Terry. They got the top team in the Big 12. They know Kansas is coming in here to try to clinch on their home court. You talk about the energy in the building. It's not full. It's not rabid. You know, they're pulling for their home team, but it's a different energy on the road, and this young Kansas team is going to have to find their way.
Mario Little off the bench with the miss. You're right, and oftentimes you can't let the crowd bring you to a certain level, and you can't expect to get up because the crowd's there. You're not used to it. You got to get yourself into the game early.
Well, what's the example you gave, Terry, off the air you were talking about in terms of the tournament and how the atmospheres are there?
Foul on Marcus Morris. You're right. First round of the NCAA tournament's often hard. You play it away from home at a neutral site. It's the opera clap, you know, they're very polite. Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Tennessee, South Carolina, the SEC. And then you've got your Illini, number 23, taking on Penn State, looking to score some points in that one.
The opera clap.
A very polite wine and cheese clap.
I love it. You don't mind if I use that one, do you?
Ismir Rizvich off the bench, tied up underneath. It's Texas Tech basketball.
Yeah, and I think the Illini will score more than 33 points in the rematch.
You think so?
Yeah. They're
at Happy Valley. They're on the road now.
Well, they set basketball back a couple decades on that performance, but we'll give them a pass.
Damir Soljagic, a senior from Tucson, on the floor now for Texas Tech. Robertson out to Voskuhl. That's been a good combination for them all year long. Alan Voskuhl, another three. He's number 5 on the all-time list here at Texas Tech. 10-point lead.
Let's see what's happened now, Terry. Texas A&M has all the aggressiveness on the defensive end, so they're up in the chest of Kansas players. They're forcing the action on the defensive end.
A blocking foul down low. So Yagic, check out that last play at the other end. Good setup from Robertson. That's what he does extremely well.
He gets in the lane, sucks the defense in. Morningstar wasn't that far, but you got to stay with Voskuhl, who doesn't need much room to get that shot off.
So Yagic, his first foul. And the third team foul. There's the lob and the dunk. You got to watch behind that zone.
Yes, you do. They were working on that in the shoot-around this afternoon.
Voskuhl answers at the other end, though, quickly. Collins trying to answer that, and does. How about the Heat in this game the last couple of minutes?
Hey, we saw Sharon Collins do that at Oklahoma. He started at the college three and ended up at the pro three a couple times. Young man with unlimited range.
Mike Singletary on the floor now for Pat Knight. He's played very well the last couple of weeks. Foul on Tyrell Reed, the sophomore from Burlington, Kansas. His first. Here comes Travis Relaford. And Reed goes to the bench.
Well, Bill Self looking for any wing player that can slow down Alan Voskuhl. You know my theory on that, Terry. You got a hot shooter. You talk about your mother first.
I was going to let you say it. I haven't said it all year long.
Hey, you got to talk about their mama, step on their feet, pull their shorts, pull some skin off their thighs, something to get their attention.
Yeah, you're right next to the officials here. They hear you. They're going to tee you up.
Well, they know that. They remember.
Lost in the lane by Rizvich. Collins at the other end. He's going to be fouled before he can kick it out. So John Robertson picks up his first foul. Ismir Rizvich, mentioned him on the floor, the senior from Bosnia, playing in his final game here, and he's going to go back and play professional basketball in Europe. Rizvich named to the academic All-Big 12 team today. Matt Kleiman also named to the academic All-Big 12 team for Kansas.
Love to see that student athletes really being student athletes, managing their time, doing well in the classroom.
No chance for that pass. Guess who? Voskuhl left all alone. He's not going to miss that very often. And Bill Self may lose his voice by the end of the night. Timeout again. Voskuhl's got 14 in the game, and he's 4 for 5 beyond the arc after being honored on senior night.
Playing loose and free, And when great shooters get those first couple to go down, look out. He has found it early and often in the offense, and his teammates are looking for him.
Look at the numbers. And that was a guy who in Saturday's game against Oklahoma had 3 good looks at it. Wide open looks in the second half, which would have taken the lead and couldn't get one to go. He's trying to come back from, for him, what was a tough performance. He's got the team's last 9 points in the last minute and a half. Nightmare start for exactly what you didn't want to have happen early in the game. Taken away again by Robertson. Guess who? Spotting up. Not this time. Had to put it on the deck.
Exactly. It made him into a driver instead of a standstill shooter where he's deadly. But look at the effort from Texas Tech.
It's going to be Kansas basketball on the arrow, but the Red Raiders all over the floor in this one.
This is a team that has won only 2 games in conference play. They're playing with reckless abandon, going after the basketball. They have nothing to lose in tonight's game, and they are playing like it.
That's the 3rd jump ball we've had. 3rd held ball.
Again, we talk about this atmosphere. It's not a packed house. You're on the road. It's 68 degrees outside today, so you might be a little relaxed here. A young Kansas ball club got their work cut out for them.
Lewandowski picks up his 2nd. That's the team's 5th. Yeah, you're right, and don't underestimate that. Springtime comes to mind. If you're a college kid and you come down here and it's 75, 80 degrees, you're playing a team that's 12 and 17 overall, won 2 games in the Big 12, and then there are about 6,500 people in the building.
Yep, it's a weird mix, and so, you know, Sharon Collins has been here before. He's got to lead his ball club through this rough spot here, and Kansas, one of the better defensive teams in the Big 12, will have to hang their hat on the defensive end.
Darko Chohadarovic, the junior from Serbia, Belgrade, Serbia, off the bench for Pat Knight. And they'll bring that one back. Yeah, I think that was kind of obvious.
Yeah, Cole's got an interesting windup on his free throw. Just got to kind of sit back and wait a little bit until you see the ball actually release.
They look like 4 Washington Generals going in there against the Globetrotters. First 2 points for Aldridge, who's averaging 15 points a game and almost 11 rebounds a game. So he's averaging a double-double. He's got 17 of those this year.
And now you see Morningstar was giving Bosco a little bit of room. Every time Bosco takes a deep breath, he feels Morningstar in his chest. It's going to be like that from here on out.
Singletary left open. He gets it. And the pitcher's trying to figure out whether it was a 3 or not. So they're going to come over here and take a look. So they'll come over. I was trying to turn to a monitor for him. That's why
you're doing everything but selling popcorn here, partner.
We'll step away. Rick Hartzell, Dan Crispin, Rick Randall working the game tonight here in Lubbock. And take another look. Let's see. Tough to tell from that angle.
Yeah, if he has a size 11, maybe it's a 3. But I bet he's carrying about a 13.
I wear an 11.
That's what I'm saying.
Singletary is 6'5", 226.
So I'm thinking he's probably more like a 2 from that angle anyway. But isn't this typical college basketball this time of year? Take another look. Got a team, only 2 wins in conference play, is coming out and with a great start. And now Kansas has their work cut out for them here in the first half.
It shouldn't be a shock, though.
Right.
To Kansas, and I'm sure Bill Self is not shocked. I mean, I'm sure he's talked to his team about this. I mean, they went on the road and played Texas very tough a week ago. Texas Tech did.
Right.
Lost by 6. Played Oklahoma very tough. Even though it was a 15-point game in the end, it wasn't a 15-point game. So they've been in games lately, and you allow a shooter like Bosco to get hot. Could be a long night trying to come back.
And they have to chase him now, and now it frees up opportunities for other players like Singletary, who just hit that long-range jumper. So, good start for the Red Raiders, trying to douse these red-hot Kansas Jayhawks from coming in here and getting one.
And there are times, even though they've got young players, besides Collins and Cole Aldridge, who was young as well. He's a sophomore, but 2 years ago, losing here, last second shot.
Right.
4 years ago, losing in double overtime here. Sometimes the mental imagery when you go into a certain building and face a certain team works against you.
Great point. And styles of play also, let's take another look. We're just very difficult to see from that angle right there. But I'm thinking that size 13 is on that red line.
It's 2. You're going with 2.
I'm going with 2.
I'd love to disagree with you, but I can't. I'm with you on this one.
Well, we agreed on the shoe size, though, right?
Bigger than an 11.
Right. Okay.
Now, officials came over to talk to us to ask us if we had another look besides the one that we've been taking a look at. We don't. So that's it. So you're going with 2. I think they're inclined to go with 3.
That's what I'm looking at you for. It's like they thought it was a 3, but I guess we have the benefit of the replay as well as they do. But
take you back. We talked about Kansas and what the week's been like. Now, Blake Griffin was out, obviously, but they take the Sooners, and Sharon Collins has a huge game against them. They beat them by 9. Come back to face Missouri tonight. Kirk Heinrich, his jersey being honored. Aldridge, a big game. Missouri was never in this one, really, especially in the second half. And remember, the Tigers beat them in Columbia and created 27 turnovers the first time around. So Bill Self's club playing their best basketball of the season. Check out their DiGiorno tournament resume. Guess what, folks? They're in. But pretty impressive.
oh yeah, 13-1 in their last 14 games. You see their strength of schedule, and 8-4 against the top 50. So Kansas is an impressive resume.
By the way, we're playing basketball again, and they have ruled it. Mr. Bardo, drum roll, please. A 3. So you and I are dead wrong. Aldridge fouled by Chodarovich.
Are we dead wrong?
According to the only opinions that count.
Oh, okay. I think if we had maybe we can ask Singletary at some point, he'll probably agree with us.
He would never be honest about that. That's a 3 in his book. Aldridge at the line for 2. So it's an 11-point lead. The number 9 team in the nation down early on the road.
An 11-point lead for a very good, 11-point deficit rather, for a very good defensive club in Kansas. They go possession by possession. They can find themselves very quickly back in this game.
Robertson knifes through. Nowhere to go this time, though. He created a lot of havoc for the Sooners on Saturday afternoon. Came away with 17 points and 7 assists in that game. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay at this end. Texas Tech basketball.
It's so difficult to defend guards who have the ultimate green light. Robertson, Voskuhl can catch and shoot any time that they see fit, and it's very difficult to slow these guys down.
Oklahoma, Jeff Capel had to go to a zone midway through that game. And that's finally the only thing that it worked. But man-to-man, Robertson is taking apart the guards of Oklahoma. Walking violation. Chodarovich gives it back to Kansas.
Well, Chodarovich had a pretty good opportunity there. Got happy feet on the block. Like Kevin McHale down there without the bounce. Watch Kansas to try to establish Cole Aldridge on the block here.
Reed around the screen, goes to his knees and kept the dribble going.
Trying to get that ball inside over there. There it is.
Aldridge, the turnaround, a little bit flat with the jumper, Singletary, but a nice job offensively getting the ball where they wanted to.
Yeah, they were very patient and want to establish Aldridge on the block. Texas Tech not doubling the post.
Chodarovich blocked by Aldridge. Singletary Texas Tech living and dying by the three. They've taken 11 threes so far, just 6 two-point attempts.
Well, that was a great recovery by Cole Aldridge to come up with that block.
All right, this time there's no doubt. Singletary, size, whatever, was behind the line. That's a three.
Well, he's feeling it too. Got that poised smile right now.
The Jayhawks in trouble here in the first half. Collins with the spin gets fouled, and that's the 7th team foul on Texas Tech. A moment to remind you, ESPN has a couple of college hoops games coming your way on Saturday. Michigan taking on Minnesota, teams that need a win right there. Louisville and West Virginia from the Big East. So you got Saturday primetime game presented by DirecTV. That should be a pretty good one in Morgantown. But how about the others? Michigan and Minnesota.
Well, I tell you what, the Big Ten has more bubble teams than anyone in the nation right now. That Michigan Wolverines club, Terry, is an enigma because they can beat the best in the country. We've seen them beat Duke, UCLA, they've beaten Purdue, but then they can lose to a Penn State or Northwestern or an Iowa, excuse me. So a very inconsistent club, but very dangerous.
How many teams from the Big Ten?
The coaches are saying 7. I say 5.
Coaches saying 7. Of course, they're saying 7.
Yeah, but they're saying, hey, we deserve to get 7 in, but I think they definitely get a solid 5.
Singletary, the turnaround over Morris in the air ball. Tyshawn Taylor, the freshman, back on the floor for the Jayhawks. To another freshman, Marcus Morris. Double team there. They swing it.
Tyshawn Taylor has been hot the last few games, but very quiet here in the early going.
3-second violation. As Marcus Morris camped out in the red paint, giving it back to Texas Tech.
I have worked alongside of Bill Self when I got into radio at the University of Illinois. I would not want to be in the halftime locker room after this performance here in the first half. You think you saw him animated early in the game. When he gets a chance to get behind closed doors, he's going to let them have it.
First foul on Brady Morningstar. So Bill Self, in his 6th season, trying to wrap up yet another Big 12 regular season title. It would be 5 in a row, and they can clinch at least a share with a win tonight. But Texas Tech, 2-12 in Big 12 play, started red hot and now has a 12-point lead. Terry and Voskuhl, the man who really carried him, takes a seat right now, Stephen.
Could it be a little bit of a Mizzou hangover from the border war? All the emotion that comes into play when Kansas and Missouri hook up, trying to avenge their only conference loss, and they did it in huge fashion, 90-65 over Missouri.
First foul on John Robertson takes it the other way. Excuse me, a 2nd foul on the point guard. It's not a shock, you're right, that you would come off a week like that and a big win over Missouri and go on the road to a team that's 2-12 and have a down first half. But at some point, this man, your leaders have to step up, take the squad underneath and say, hey, we can't lose a game like this. Robertson all the way in to the left hand off the glass.
Man, really no defense to stop the penetration that time. Robertson got the rebound and went coast to coast, Terry, with very little pressure applied.
Largest lead of the game as Collins, they run that 3-man leave out front. He takes it all the way down the lane.
It was a nice adjustment that time by Sharon Collins. Not looking at the high-low action, but looking for a little dribble penetration.
Singletary gets by Marquise Morris. Scramble underneath, and he's fouled. That night, very happy at this point. 29-17, Texas Tech. That's right, Texas Tech with the lead over number 9 Kansas tonight in Lubbock. Alan Voskuhl, the man who has led the way, he's got 14 points in the game, 4 of 6 beyond the arc, but taking a rest right now. Mike Singletary at the line. Here's the shocking stat so far for me. Kansas, one of the best rebounding teams, not only in the league, in the country. They're almost +8 for the season. They're down 8 on the board so far.
Well, there's not a lot of defensive rebounds to be had. Texas Tech is 7 of 12 from 3 so far. So they're shooting lights out, over 52% from the field. That's un-Kansas light. So there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunities for rebounds.
And they really haven't challenged defensively. Also, you talk about non-Kansas-like play. Defensively, they have not given the effort so far.
Well, Brady Morningstar is their defensive stalwart, and they got off to a little slow start. And give Bosco credit. His last game here as a Red Raider.
Taken away by Okori. Here comes Robertson, an offensive foul called, and that's 3 on him. And that's huge.
Wow. Well, you look at Pat Knight right there. He's got to take some of the brunt of this, Terry. There's a lot of time left in this first half. He has 2 fouls. You leave him out there. He's your leading scorer, leading assist man. He's going to try to make things happen.
He's got 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but now 3 fouls. What'd you think about the call?
You know what? I'm thinking less of the call, and I'm thinking more of the decision to keep him in the game with 2 fouls. And I just, you know, that maybe you try to avoid the contact, but Pat Knight's got to take some of that responsibility.
Markieff Morris picking up his second. So Robertson sits. We got 7:22 left in the half. That's a long time to get to the locker room.
That's my point. And so now Okori and Bosco have to try to bring up the ball against pressure. Kansas is going to show a little pseudo man-to-man pressure here to try to wear the ball handlers down. And Bosco, who's been hot from the field, now you have to take him off the wing and put him on the point.
Yep. Foul along the baseline against the Jayhawks. That's going to go against Tyshawn Taylor. They're in the 1-and-1. That's the 7th team foul on Kansas.
Well, what could go wrong has gone wrong for Bill Self's squad early in this ball game. But Terry, they're only down 13, and when I say only, it's a ton of time left in the first half, let alone the rest of the game. It's a very talented ball club that hangs their hat on the defensive end.
No, there's no question. There's a world of time, but he can't be happy with the effort so far.
Oh, there's no question about it. And Bosco was beating Morningstar to the open spot. Texas Tech was getting the loose balls early. They're beating them on the glass like you talked about already. So, you know, it's effort right now for Texas Tech over Kansas.
Nick Okori with the free throws. Boy, he was out a number of games with a high ankle sprain. And Pat Knight and the squad here really say what might have been had he not been out. Offensive foul against Collins. We're going the other way. That's his first.
Well, Sharon Collins trying to get all the way from the three-point line to the hole. Good job of defensive rotation. Prince stepping in to draw the contact.
And whatever you might have thought about the other call against Robertson, the officials have been consistent.
They have been. And, you know, you don't see a lot of complaining from the players, so that's when you know the officiating is pretty good.
Okori, and they're going to whistle Mario Little with his first foul. Texas Tech, the much more aggressive team at both ends right now.
Terry, they started the game attacking the three-point line. Now they're getting the 1-and-1, and now they're going to the rim.
Smart.
Great game plan by Pat Knight. I'm not sure that he wrote it up quite this way, but still we have to give him credit.
Corey, the junior from Houston, who played at South Plains Junior College. You have to do a double take when you see this score. If you're just tuning in, it is 34-17. Texas Tech, the team that is 12-17 on the year over number 9 Kansas.
Well, every year a team has 30 games. 5 games you're better than you usually are. 5 games you're worse than you usually are, and you got about 20 games with who you really are. And so right now, Kansas is having one of those 5 games where they are under what they typically are, what we've grown accustomed to seeing.
Whose theory is that? Someone put forth that theory. Is that a Stephen Bardo theory?
No, I can't take credit for that. I heard Fran Fraschilla actually say that.
Is it Fran's theory?
I don't think
it's
Fran
from somebody else.
I think it's an old,
it's a recycled theory.
no doubt.
Second foul on a Corey, and Collins, an 81% free throw shooter, misses. Been that kind of night.
But you see how a true point guard gives credit where credit's due.
He passed it off. I know.
See,
That's very impressive.
You know,
Of course, if I didn't call you out on that, no one would have. No, it would have been a Bardo theory. Sharon Collins, 1 of 2. Coming off Player of the Week on in the Big 12, Mr. Collins is. For the 3rd time this year.
and you talk about a young man that has benefited from the college experience. Probably no one more than Sharon Collins.
Waylon Roberts high above the rim. They're going to call the over the back. So Roberts, almost a spectacular tip dunk, that picks up his first foul. And the 10th team foul on the Red Raiders.
Out of Crane High School, Sharon Collins, tremendous 3-star athlete. Didn't know if he was quite prepared academically, but has come to Kansas and has really embraced the student experience at Lawrence. Grown up as a young man, become a team leader. He's a poster child for what you like to see from guys that come from disadvantaged backgrounds and take advantage of a great opportunity.
Had some good teams at Crane through the years. Great players in that league too, which has produced so many great players throughout the year. The city of Chicago. So Collins, their leading scorer, assist man, and 3-point shooter, and the 3rd leading scorer in the Big 12. Almost lost underneath them. Roberts did lose it. Jayhawks scramble. Bill Self has gotten playing now with some intensity.
He's got them picking up a little bit and trying to pick up their aggressive nature here in the defensive end.
Reed halfway down and out. Pat Knight wants a timeout. I think he senses that intensity from the Jayhawks as well. With 5:39 left, it's still a 14-point lead.
They got everything.
Not everything.
That's not mine.
Yo, Rich, he said he saw 2 guys earlier. One of them was wearing a jacket.
And how does that help me?
Yo, you cover for this?
I don't know.
How could you not know?
Yo, it's not funny.
This is funny. You know what? You need to call my agent.
You should know you're covered.
Come on, man. It's not mine.
Call one of our 17,000 State Farm agents today.
14-point lead for Texas Tech at home against Kansas. Pat Knight with that quick timeout, playing without his starting point guard, John Robertson, who's on the bench with 3 fouls.
There's a call by Bill Self called blue. And he's trying to get his guys to play kneecap to kneecap pressure defense. You see Mario Little exaggerating his body movements on the defensive end, trying to pick up the intensity level, and it seems to be working.
Singletary with the miss, and then the foul over the back. Both teams have been in the double bonus for the last couple of minutes. Well, a great hustle by Texas Tech, though, at home, their final home game.
Final home game, and a team that's only won 2 conference games. You wouldn't know it by their effort here early. Attacking the rim, getting Kansas into the 1-1 early here in the first half. And Alan Bosco feeling it.
He had those 14 points in the first, 5 minutes of the game.
Yes, just came out, catch and shoot, wasn't thinking about it, trying to leave a lasting impression on this court here for his last time. That's an emotional night, Terry. I know you remember. Well, no, you probably don't, because yours was so long ago.
Funny man.
But that's an emotional night, senior night, and he's letting his emotions out here on the court.
Yeah, you're right. You say emotional, and a lot of different emotions run through you on that night. Rod Drake Craig, the son of Roger Craig, with the outside jumper. His dad's here tonight. 49er.
There's no pressure on Texas Tech. They are shooting jumpers, Terry, like it's practice. They're playing free, they're playing aggressive, and playing loose.
Little doubled along the baseline. Here's Taylor, took the extra step to get started, the walking violation. Yeah, there's Roger. Watching his son knock down a three.
Well, the defensive rotation is slow like it's been here in the first half for Kansas.
Hey, how about this? Kansas has 1 assist in the game and 7 turnovers.
That is amazing.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Foul along the baseline. Brady Morningstar picks up his second, and it's going to be Vasco, shoots 89% at the line.
Top 1 or 2 in the conference in assists are the Kansas Jayhawks. And so when you can't establish that early post play of Cole Aldridge, all of a sudden things get a little bit tighter. Sharon Collins trying to make things happen off the dribble, so there's less passing to set up the scoring.
You're a bit surprised without Robertson on the floor. You haven't seen more pressure up the floor from Kansas?
I am, Terry. I thought they would be a man-to-man and a run and jump possible. But Alan Vasco trying to bring the ball to court. Maybe you double team him, get the ball out of his hands, and now you have a higher chance of forcing a turnover.
Here's the one problem. You got to knock down some shots before you can get your full court pressure.
That's right. That's right.
Aldridge on the bench. He's without a field goal or a rebound.
And see, now everything is perimeter oriented for Kansas.
Tough time. Collins had it going in and out. And Bill Self up screaming for a different defense. They go back to a zone right now.
Okay, now, remember, Terry, you said that Oklahoma went to a zone. That was the only way they slowed Texas Tech down. Let's see if Kansas does the same thing.
Well, 0 for 1 against the zone. Craig with the miss. The only difference is Oklahoma went to the zone with Robertson beating them in a man-to-man in penetration. And he's not on the floor right now. They get the bucket at the other end, though, Relaford.
Boy, Travis Relaford, yet another freshman for Bill Self. 6'5" wing player out of Kansas City, Missouri. Scored 9 points at Missouri in 8 minutes. So this is a young man that's capable of scoring the basketball. Just, they're young, Terry, but they are deep and talented on the Kansas Jayhawks.
Got to free up Vasco against this zone here somehow, some way. 6 on the shot clock. Step through. Tough shot. Not his shot.
Definitely not.
They scramble, almost save it though. Here come the Jayhawks.
A nice cross-court look by Collins.
Reed beyond the arc. So 2 possessions in the zone, 2 stops, and 2 buckets, 5 points at the other end.
You called it, Terry. The zone has slowed the attack. Remember, Texas Tech was attacking the rim, getting to the free throw line with 1-and-1 opportunities. Now those driving lanes are shut down. They're having to beat Kansas over the top.
Thrown away. 3 straight possessions without a bucket for Texas Tech. Collins taken away by Craig. Morris gets it to Relaford. The up and under move. How about that one?
Kansas City's finest at the hole. Travis Relaford getting funky on the baseline.
The zone has worked wonders. Give Bill Self some credit. They've made a run. Back in this one. The lead is 11 for Texas Tech over number 9 Kansas, but the Jayhawks have made a 7-0 run in the last couple of minutes. Mike Leach, with his new contract as the head football coach of the Red Raiders, watching this one. That was the major story. Remember a week and a half, 2 weeks ago when we were here?
Yeah, the little incentives and things of that nature in the contract. I'm sure they got that worked out.
They did. Gerald Myers, the AD, used to play hoops here at Texas Tech. Back to the zone again. If you're Pat Knight, how do you attack this thing now?
Well, you get Okuri and Vasco on the wing right there to free them up for those opportunities.
They made the adjustment, put Okuri at the top, Vasco at the wing that time, and no one home. Relaford throws it to the Texas Tech bench. It'll be Red Raider basketball once again when we come back to Lubbock.
Ryan Bird, Jimmy Dykes, Steve Lavin coming up at the half. We'll touch on the possible #1 seeds from the Big East.
Is it possible that 3 #1 seeds come out of the Big East? UConn, Pitt, and Louisville. It could happen.
How about a little love for the Big Ten, huh? The Spartans, 11 wins over top 50 RPI. They're still in the mix if they win out.
We'll have this argument
plus Oklahoma taking on Mizzou, a huge game in the Big 12. See what I got to deal with, Terry?
See you at the half.
We all have our cross to bear in life, Ryan. I understand that. I'm with Mr. Bardo. Texas Tech, 39-28 over Kansas. That's what he's saying. Gives the Big Ten some love here. All right, little extension on the zone now. They fall back in.
Yeah, this is I don't know if they're really trying to get a turnover, but they're trying to take some time off the shot clock because Texas Tech has not looked good in this half-court offense against the zone.
Damir Jagic, a 16-footer. I'm not sure that's the shot that Pat Knight wanted against the zone either. So a minute 25 and counting until the break. Kansas with some life now. Collins, the pull-up. One and done. Texas Tech only last in the first half. Okori on the run. And an offensive foul against Nick Okori. And that's 3 on him.
Tyrell Reed setting up nicely there to draw the contact. Okori is the type that can take off and dunk on you. Oh, I don't know about that one. Looked like Okori avoided the contact from that angle. That's a tough break for Texas Tech.
So you've got Okori with 3, Robertson with 3. Pat Knight just wants to get to the locker room here. Reed just hit one, but not this time. And he's going to walk it up now. Big time effort by the Red Raiders in their final home game on senior night.
Look how far Vasco's away from the basket, though. He's not a scoring threat. Texas Tech is looking at Singletary along that free throw line area.
Prince and the draft in the building. And Collins will control it. And against the zone, you got a guy who is lighting it up through the first half from three-point range, and he's not putting himself in a position to get a shot. But this final possession, and they're on their feet here in United Spirit Arena. They love the effort of the Red Raiders in their final home game. Collins going to wind it down under Tech.
If I'm Texas Tech, I double-team Collins right now.
He lets it fly. Singletary, they got a chance to get a shot off. Sends it to the second row. Great first half for Texas Tech. Big effort from Alan Vasco on senior night. 16 points, 5 of 9 from the floor, and he lit it up beyond the arc in the first 5 minutes. So it's 39-28. The number 9 team in the nation needs a comeback. They'll talk about it, and we'll come back to Lubbock for the second half. But right now, we go back to the studio in Ryan.
All right, Terry, thanks a lot. Ryan Verge, Jimmy Dykes, the coach Steve Lavin. 11-point game at the half. Another huge game we are keeping our eye on. Oklahoma and Mizzou. Senior night for Mizzou. This defense, they can score in flurries or bunches, Coach.
Well, and a lot of combinations. 12 Tigers play in the first half. They wear you down, the ability to turn you over and score in a hurry.
And how about this? Leo Lyons backing down the great Blake Griffin gets taken to the bucket. Tigers up by 9 after this Marcus Denman three-pointer, and it is now 49-34. So we're looking at Oklahoma possibly losing 3 out of 4, Jimmy.
Well, they could, and this is an Oklahoma team I think right now has some issues. Willie Warren didn't start their last ball game because he was late to a team meeting. Juan Patillo gets a 1-game suspension, and Oklahoma right now is out of rhythm. This is not the time of the year you want to be out of rhythm. Oklahoma, that looked like a lock 2 weeks ago for #1 seed, now is vulnerable, and that's why I say the Big East could have 3 #1 seeds come from that league.
We will get to the Big East in just a little bit. As far as Mizzou, up 15 now, looking to finish 18-0 at home.
You know, I agree with Jimmy. Oklahoma has some problems, but this is also on the flip side an opportunity to give some credit to Mike Anderson. I really believe a National Coach of the Year candidate, deserving with the turnaround he's had with the Tigers. He wears opponents down. They score in bunches or flurries because of their full court pressure defensive schemes, and he has a nice mix of players there. You know, Leo Lyons, a tough matchup. Damari Carroll, a big man that's undersized but can beat you on the bounce. The heart and soul, J.T. Tiller and Zaire Taylor's hit some big shots this year. This Missouri team deserves a lot of credit.
You are so right. Wrong just left the room.
I like that. Yeah, a little love from Jimmy Dykes.
New one for Jimmy Dykes. A lot more still to come. These guys will debate out who are the #1 seeds. Where does Memphis lurk? They're kind of like a cobra in the mix. Could they strike one more and pick up a #1 seed? Pittsburgh, UConn, North Carolina, the 1 seeds. We're talking it coming back. Brian Burr, 11 days from Selection Sunday. And how about Texas Tech looking to pull off one of the many upsets on this Wednesday night? They're up 11 on Kansas at the break. Let's go to the Big East now. Marquette visiting Pittsburgh. Marquette looking to avoid losing 3 in a row. That's Mike Tomlin, coach of the Super Bowl winning Pittsburgh Steelers. Early on, had to like this or not like it. Anyways, it's Jarrell McNeil hitting the 3. Marquette firing the 3s early, but no answer, Jimmy, for Pitt's inside game.
Well, and also Levance Fields was what triggered the inside game for Pitt. Marquette really missed Dominique James again tonight, defending the point guard position.
A Pitt in transition, giving it up, sharing the sugar, Coach.
Well, undersized Marquette team and Jamie Dixon, well-devised game plan, pounded in down low.
Let's stay in the Big East now. Seton Hall and Louisville. The Cardinals and Rick Pitino still have thoughts of winning the Big East outright regular season title, and what that might mean long-term. As you might figure, they are out running as usual.
Well, so many of Rick Pitino's teams throughout his career hit their stride in March, and once again, Louisville on the run.
A T-Will, the block at one end. At the other end, he's there for a tip-in.
Earl Clark, think that's 27 points tonight. He leads Louisville in scoring only 13 points a game. They have that same kind of balance that the Kansas Jayhawks had last year.
They are now 15-2 in the Big East as they blow out Seton Hall. And wow, you take a look at the top 3 teams in the Big East, and it is hard to distinguish which of these 3 are the best and most deserving of a 1 seed, Jimmy.
What I'm impressed with this league right now, back in December, we were concerned that the Big East might beat each other up so much they maybe couldn't produce one number 1 seed. It is very possible that the Big East now, when you look at those 3 resumes, could have 3 number 1 seeds in that NCAA tournament. If Oklahoma were to falter, that could happen to them. Memphis doesn't have a strong enough resume. I know Coach Lavin likes Michigan State, but 3 right now, the Big East are in prime position for a number 1 seed.
And I agree with Jimmy. I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't 2 number 1 seeds that come out of the Big East Conference. And that's what's so critical about conference tournaments at this stage of the season. You don't want to bow out in an opening round game when other teams continue to build their resume, have the opportunity with a national stage, a captive audience, the selection committee putting those teams under the magnifying glass, and the teams that continue to win games coming out of the power conferences can quickly change their resume because they're going against ranked teams, quality teams, high RPI teams, strong strength of schedule teams. That's why we often see teams on the bubble suddenly get in the tournament, teams crawl from a 5 or a 4 up to a 3, and 3 sometimes go to 2s and right up the RPI or the seeding schedule.
Well, that is a luxury that Memphis does not have. They do not get to face ranked opponents night in, night out. Maybe their toughest opponent left on the schedule would be Houston this evening. John Calipari and company, he can't invent ranked teams on the schedule. It is what it is.
No, he can't, and they have just blitzed through this league the last 3 years. Almost 1,100 days since their last loss in Conference USA. They were tested tonight defensively. Still, this is one of the top 5 teams in the country on the defensive end. But you look at their overall resume, Lav, they only have 4 top 50 RPI wins. There's no way they should be in the conversation for a number 1 seed.
Well, they have feasted in Conference USA, but let's not forget, last 3+ years, Memphis, UCLA, the most successful programs in America.
Yes, they do not have Derrick Rose in the lineup this year. They have won 57 straight, though, in Conference USA. Let's move to the ACC, Carolina and Virginia Tech. That was Frank Beamer, football coach. He's like, what? Tyler Hansbrough jacking 3s? But as you would expect, the Hokies didn't give up.
Well, North Carolina with 6 top 50 RPIs coming in. Ty Lawson was outstanding tonight. He and Hansbrough combined for 47 points. And defensively, in spurts tonight, they look like the team that could win the national championship, but they got to get some consistency.
I agree, Jimmy. Their ability to put away Virginia Tech, impressive. In particular, when you're looking ahead to Duke, would be a natural against your rival, but they did the job first against the Hokies.
And going to win at 86-78. Carolina now 12-3. There were several upsets that could have long-term effects. Boston College, you guys still thinking pretty good seeding, but they can't afford many more bad losses. They lose at NC State and Miami. This is a tough loss for the Hurricanes, getting thumped by Georgia Tech 78-68.
You knew Georgia Tech was going to get somebody. Tonight it's the Hurricanes.
Indeed it was. A lot more still to come. We are back after this quick timeout.
Potential preview of the Eastern Conference Finals, LeBron James and the Cavs head up to Beantown to take on familiar foe Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics. Can King James make a statement against the defending champs? It's Cavs Celtics, Friday at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Ryan Bird, Jimmy Dykes, Steve Lavin. Big Ten still a great RPI. How about these scores tonight?
Well, think about Northwestern this year. They blow out Florida State, wins over Purdue, Michigan State, and Minnesota. Bill Carmody doing a hell of a job with the Wildcats.
And a huge win for Minnesota over Wisconsin. Tubby Smith now 9-8 in conference, 21 overall wins. Does that get the Gophers in?
They still have work to do. The conference tournament critical, but Tubby Smith with a big win over Louisville in the non-conference. That sure helps his cause.
SEC, the losses, the upsets coming in flurries or bunches tonight, Jimmy?
Well, it's a crazy league right now. LSU, Tennessee, and South Carolina out of the SEC are locks for the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. And Florida and Kentucky, major losses tonight. Now, Florida and Kentucky, they play on Saturday. The winner, they move to the front of the bubble list. That's what that game's going to boil down to.
Bubblicious.
Wow. Unbelievable. Florida and Georgia both lose. Texas Tech is hoping to win right now. Kansas down 11. Texas Tech up 39-28 on Senior Day. Back with the second half.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Codename Lancer from Mitsubishi, saving the world from boring.
We welcome you back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Disney Parks, United Spirit Arena here in Lubbock, Texas. And Texas Tech trying to pull off what would be a major upset. They're up 39-28 over number 9 Kansas. Terry Gannon back with Stephen Bardo. Texas Tech went the last 5 minutes of the first half without a field goal. They're still up 11.
Yeah, great shooting from the outside led by Voskuhl. Really got them going early, and Kansas could not find the bottom of the bucket early in the first half.
Our Disney Parks moments of the game on senior night here in Lubbock. Alan Voskuhl being honored prior to the game, along with 4 other seniors playing for the last time here in Lubbock and making the most of it early on.
Yeah, he really found his openings early, and his teammates started looking for him. And once the shooter gets going, well, he found it early and often and got this Red Raider attack going quickly.
Voskuhl 4 of 7 beyond the arc. Sean Collins leading the Jayhawks. Cole Aldridge, though, has not had a field goal. He's had no rebounds in the game. He had 2 fouls in the first half. Only played 9 minutes. Expect them to look inside to Aldridge early in the second half.
Yeah, they always want us. Kansas usually likes to establish the interior early, and Cole will definitely get his opportunities.
Remember, they can clinch a share of the Big 12 regular season crown. Now, if Oklahoma ends up losing, then they would clinch a share of the title even if they lose here. But that's not the way Phil Self wants to get it done. John Robertson along with Nico Corey, who just traveled on the opening possession. Both of them have 3 fouls, but they're back on the floor.
Well, and just saw a subtle adjustment from Kansas. They're switching that dribble handoff of Texas Tech. They were trying to have Morningstar stay with Voskuhl. Looks like they're trying to switch.
Gets who down low, but they double team, and Aldridge gets it over to Marcus Morris for the dunk. Here's the full court pressure by the Jayhawks.
Little 2-1-2 three-quarter court. Drop back into a man-to-man, it looks like.
Lewandowski to high-low. Okori. Kansas still in the zone. Taken away by Aldridge on the cross court. Collins able to save it.
Great body control by Ryan Collins.
8 trips down the floor at the end of the first half against the zone. No field goals for Texas Tech. It has worked. Morris. Offensive foul.
Coach Self was wondering why the official on the baseline, right in front of where Morris was, didn't make the call.
That's why I hesitated, because I'm looking at that official, and he didn't make a call.
Yes. Didn't we have the Oscars here recently?
Yeah.
I think Prince might have seen that a little bit. Maybe not.
No, I'm with you. Corey's short. Here come the Jayhawks looking to run. Aldridge doubled again. They've doubled him every time he's touched it now. Great look to Morningstar, and he dumps it down to Morris for another dunk.
Kansas has figured out the lack of defensive rotation by Texas Tech, resulting in Morris getting a couple easy dunks.
The lead was 11 just a moment ago at halftime. It's down to 7 Good opening moments here in the second half for the Jayhawks.
Well, you see here, great ball rotation. Easy bucket at the end.
Check out the numbers, Steven, since Bill Self switched to the zone.
Yeah, you can tell that everyone in conference watches every tape of every game, because Oklahoma had very similar success against Texas Tech when they went to zone.
So Pat Knight has got to figure out how to attack that zone now. The switch in the second half is that they're adding the three-quarter court pressure, and they get another steal. Taylor with a bucket off the steal.
Well, this young Kansas team has come with some effort here out of the locker room from halftime. Not surprised. We talked about Bill Self.
You think he lit him up a little bit?
Man, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that play.
Vasco's the man who would open up this zone. Robertson halfway down and out, lost out of bounds. They're going to keep it at this end.
Crowd running over the back from Cole Aldridge. Going after the rebound right there. What happens is teams that start having runs, you start to get, the officials start to look your way a little bit.
Prince in the middle, right past Aldridge.
That was an aggressive move. Prince going with his offhand.
Michael Prince, the senior from Plano, Texas, and that ends a stretch of almost 7 minutes without a field goal for Texas Tech.
Kansas doesn't even look like they're going to attempt to take a shot outside the paint area here to start the second half.
Loose ball picked up by Collins. They swing it. Morningstar, that's a three. Yeah, he's got it. It's a 4-point game.
Now you're seeing why Kansas is the top team in the Big 12. Came out horrendous start, have found a way to get themselves back in the game. That three-quarter court pressure and zone have been very effective.
Nowhere to go, and Robertson hit the underside of the backboard, and that's out of bounds, back to Kansas. The hustle at the other end by the Jayhawks, leading to a bucket.
Well, Morris got away with a little shove, and then a nice ball rotation for a scrambling Texas Tech D that can't close out on the shooter.
So it makes him so tough to defend as well. You have to stop this initially. Aldridge gathers himself, no call, off the glass and in. He's on the board now with a bucket.
Well, now they have their rhythm going. Inside out is what Kansas likes to do. Being very aggressive here. Texas Tech falling apart.
Another turnover, giving it back to the Jayhawks. Cole Aldridge had the 2 fouls, had some free throws in the first half, but watch this move now.
Well, he's determined to get going inside, and so he tries to go away from the defense. Nice adjustment that time by Cole Aldridge. But Terry, this is where the doubt creeps in on a 2-win team in conference play with Texas Tech. Everything was going according to plan early, but little adversities hit. They've seen this before.
Aldridge still without a rebound tonight, though. He averages almost 11. Collins to Cole underneath. Couldn't get there. In and out for Morningstar. Here comes up Corey.
Looks like there's a little bit of contact with Aldridge.
Tipped out. Red Raider basketball. 15:38 mark. Texas Tech has only scored 2 points in the second half so far.
Coming up on SportsCenter, it's Shaq back in Miami, and will LeBron drive 55 on Milwaukee again? How Manny's deal got done, and who's the real winner? Plus, what brought Warner and Lewis back to the nest? SportsCenter after the game.
On an 18-2 run, Kansas has taken the lead 11-2, outscoring Texas Tech in the second half. Still trailing by 2 overall in the game. Reminder, college hoops coming your way. Thursday night showcase. Kicking off with Tennessee and South Carolina. Pat's dad, Bob Knight, calling that game with Brent Musburger. And then in the Big Ten, Illinois taking on Penn State, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price.
Interesting, those 2 matchups represent 2 of the conferences that will probably have the most entertaining conference tournaments this season in the SEC and the Big Ten. A lot of bubble teams in both conferences.
Robertson rattles one home. That's a big bucket for him to get things going here in the second half. Yeah, you're right about but how about the granddaddy of them all, the ACC tournament? Oh, some love there, will you?
Always going to be. That's always exciting.
Bucket along the baseline in the foul. Collins taking it all the way in. Ishmael Rizvich with his first foul.
Well, Sharon Collins, a football star at Crane High School in Chicago, not afraid of throwing his body in the mix and then showing you the appreciation there.
Collins looking to get into double figures. Well, he's missed a couple of free throws tonight. Aldridge over the back, and that's his third foul.
That's been one of those nights for Cole. Just can't get going. And I like the young man's demeanor, though, Terry. His facial demeanor never changes. He's trying hard. He's working hard. Things aren't going well for him, but he's stayed positive.
So he goes to the bench. Markieff Morris now in the lineup for Bill Self. These pressures put a lot of pressure on Robertson and Voskuhl. Nice dish down to Singletary.
I'm sure there's a reason why Mike Singletary doesn't start, but I can't seem to figure it out. Because every time he's on the floor, he makes good things happen for Tech.
Keith Morris with the miss. Voskuhl clears it. You're right. And he said last 2.5, 3 weeks, he's been very good for Pat Knight's club.
I mean, it's a tough matchup, Terry. Look at him. He's 6'5", but he can shoot the three. He plays a small four-man inside, so he can rebound. He's got a nice body, and he's a decent athlete.
Deep three for Voskuhl. Momentum back on the side of the Red Raiders.
So now you know why I call him the best long-range sniper in the Big 12.
I didn't argue that.
Okay.
Don't give me that look. He's got 19. Collins with the miss. Morris lost it out of bounds. Back to Texas Tech.
Well, Texas Tech going back to their two leading scorers. Roberson setting up the play right there. And then Voskuhl from Dallas, Texas. Long range.
Bill Self wants to talk it over. He calls the timeout with 14:02 left. You mentioned the man, Alan Voskuhl, being your long-range shooter. How about your other awards this year? I think that first one. Here's my
most valuable to their team, Terry. Read it.
I got two words for you. Blake Griffin.
Okay.
Two names, I guess. Blake Griffin. You're going to tell me if you took Blake Griffin off Oklahoma, he's not the most important player on the team in this league.
I think they would still be competitive in the Big 12.
They were without him for 2 games. What did they do?
They got narrowly beat.
They got beat 2 games.
Craig Brackens is a player that most of the country doesn't know about from Iowa State. Will be a lottery pick. The toughest guy in this conference to guard. And maybe honorable mention Corey Higgins of Colorado as well.
And we saw him go off against Kansas for what, 42? Yeah. Blake, another double-double in tonight's game. Voskuhl, as they switch to a man-to-man now, Kansas does. Taken away from Singletary.
Taylor hasn't scored much, but his defense has been pretty solid this evening.
Collins over Voskuhl. Can't get the roll. Tipped up and good. Markieff Morris with the tip.
Now they got a double dose of the Morris brothers in.
Voskuhl just open for a brief moment, and he buries it.
You know what? Tip your hat to the big men of Texas Tech. They are finding ways to get Voskuhl open off of those down screens.
Tipped out. It's going to be Texas Tech basketball. I'm not sure that didn't go off the hand of Mike Singletary.
Watch this down screen, Terry, to free Voskuhl. Look right there. Morningstar just a little late. Morris is apprehensive to help. And everybody's got to be coming towards Voskuhl right now when he gets the rock.
On a night like tonight, he's red hot. You almost want to just face guard him, right? Forget about help defense. Just stop him.
Or put a whelp on his arm.
Yeah, you always go there quickly, don't you?
You have to.
Here's Okori over Taylor. In and out.
Now, if Okori can get going, Terry, it may be a long night for Kansas if they have 3 perimeter scorers scoring at will.
Singletary on the run and the foul. Marcus Morris is going to pick up his 3rd.
The ebb and flow of a college basketball game. Looked like Texas Tech was dead in the water, and all of a sudden, it got a little life. A couple long threes from Bosco, and everyone else picks it up.
Long way to go. Over 12.5 minutes. The Pat Knight squad. They've had stretches, mention it, the last 3 or 4 games. They've been in every one. They've had a stretch of 4 or 5 minutes where they've struggled, trying to avoid that tonight. Saturday, ESPN sends a couple of games your way. Michigan and Minnesota in the Big Ten. That's at noon Eastern time. And then Saturday night primetime, presented by DirecTV. Louisville taking on West Virginia.
That Louisville-West Virginia game, that's just going to be a good old-fashioned Big East brawl.
From Morgantown.
Oh, man.
Can they, guys were talking about it, can they get 3 #1 seeds?
No, I don't think so.
It's tough. Yeah, UConn, Pitt, Louisville. I'm not sure that.
And Louisville ranked 6th right now. That Big East, like the ACC, some of those favorites are going to go down either at the end of the regular season or in the conference tournament. It's just inevitable.
Yeah. Lewandowski picks up his 3rd foul, trying to stop Cole Aldridge. And talking to Bill Self this afternoon, he said, I know we're not in the conversation right now for a #1 seed. Morris, Aldridge can't get it. Here comes Bosco. But imagine, we'll get back there in a minute. First, Bill Self just got teed up. Technical foul on Bill Self.
And Terry, I understand why he went off like that. Markieff Morris got hammered going to the bucket, and there was no call. And you got to fight for your team on the road. You got to show them that you're in there with them, battling. He's asking his young men to leave it on the line. Tough break that time for Kansas.
Vasco's not going to miss. He shoots 89% from the line. Earlier this year, he had a stretch where he made 28 straight. So the 2 free throws on the technical.
Watch here. Goes up. Right on the arm. There's no question about it. Then once again comes down. That's a lot of contact, Terry, going up for a shot.
Well, on the previous possession, too, they got the ball underneath, and there was contact and no call. So it's not just that call, I believe. Foul away from the ball. And it's against Aldridge. That's his 4th. Cole Aldridge with 4 fouls, and there's 12:09 left. He goes to the bench. Little comes out. So if you're a coach wanting the officials to pay more attention to the physical play, he got their attention, but at the wrong end.
Definitely at the wrong end. And we'll see if Kansas will go back into their zone defense like we saw in the first half.
Conversation's still going on.
Did you hear what he said? Coach Self said, I deserve that tee, but Aldridge did not deserve that foul down there. I love sitting close to Coach.
Morris hard to the basket and the foul. So that's Lewandowski. That's 4 on Robert Lewandowski as we step away. Texas Tech with the lead.
ABC, your NBA Sunday destination. Bitter Western Conference rivals step into the national spotlight as Shaq and the Suns battle the Spurs in San Antonio. Coverage begins Sunday at 3 Eastern on ABC.
Brian Burr in Studio Sports Center in game. We have a final between Oklahoma and Missouri. How about the Tigers? Damari Carroll in transition, laying it up and in. And the Sooners have lost 3 out of 4. Missouri wins 73-64, 18-0 at home this year. Terry?
Brian, thanks. And with that loss, what it means is that Kansas clinches at least a share of the Big 12 regular season title. Bill Self's not aware of that right now, nor does he care at this moment. He cares about what's taking place in the last couple of minutes, including a technical foul and 2 free throws at the other end. But you're talking about also if Oklahoma drops and perhaps loses a #1 seed, the possibility of UConn, Pitt, and Louisville being #1 seeds from the Big East.
Which, when I heard it coming out of studio, I thought, oh, that can't be. But now that you look at the top 10,
right,
and the way that things are shaping up, that's definitely a possibility.
So much left to be decided, too, though. North Carolina and Duke in the ACC. If Duke beats North Carolina this weekend or in the championship game, they get a #1 seed. But it's fun to speculate.
It sure is. I will tell you this, though. There's no speculation on the fact that Memphis will be a #1 seed.
Another long-range three for Vosco, maybe too long. Out to Taylor, good catch.
Boy, we have seen some momentum swings in this game. Kansas showing you some grit. Their big man on the bench in foul trouble. They go to the zone that was so good for them in the first half. And they got easy opportunity out of that defense.
That Oklahoma loss, though. Is Missouri ridiculous at home?
Yeah, they get you in that meat grinder in that 40 minutes of, I don't know if it's the same as Nolan Richardson's 40 minutes, but it's definitely havoc in Columbia.
18-0 at home.
It's amazing.
Singletary decides to let it go. How good has he been, huh?
Again, Michael Prince is probably a great defensive stalwart, but Mike Singletary is a producer on the court, and he has done it here in the last few weeks.
Little left wide open. That's why.
Construction project on that jumper, huh, T?
Not close. Vosco thought about it, steps in. Back to him in the corner. Another construction project. Here comes Tyshawn Taylor. Not going to miss that one. That's not going to be an air ball.
Poor defensive rotation that time. Robertson has to be the one that gets back on Texas Tech. Vosco's in the corner shooting the three. You've got to have rotation when you're trying to pull off an upset of this magnitude.
Fans getting uneasy right now. They send Vosco through to the other side.
But see, they're stagnant, Terry. There's not a lot of movement from Texas Tech.
Penetration in the dish to Robertson, who lost it. And here come the Jayhawks again. Sharon Collins. Inside to Little, and the walking violation. Never put it on the deck.
Watch here, Terry. Look where the D is of Kansas, and all 5 players are below the free throw line for Texas Tech. No one rotates back. Tyshawn Taylor takes advantage.
It's got to be John Robertson, right?
There's no question about it. The point guard, if he's not shooting the basketball, is always responsible to get back.
Robertson, who set the record last week for assists in a single season here at Texas Tech. Entered the game tonight with 188 this year. Got 7 tonight. A foul out front. That's just a silly foul. Tyrell Reed is second.
Robertson is really crafty there with the up fake and
got
then
him
leaned in and drew the contact. He had a little giggle about that as well. So Robertson is very, very crafty. He has the ball in his hands the majority of the time. Only a sophomore gets so much time. He plays like an upperclassman.
Next foul on Kansas, and Texas Tech will be at the line. Collins out to Reed. Yeah, that was not an easy three. He had Shoyagic right in his face.
And that's pretty playmaking by Sharon Collins. Stops on the dime with the wraparound dribble, finding his teammate. Those are the plays that have you at the top of the Big 12 conference.
Corey throws it right into traffic. Reminiscent of the run to start the second half for the Jayhawks. Collins the spin. Rebound underneath. Morris off the glass and in. Marcus with the follow.
Well, Philly's in the house with Kansas right now. The Morris twins out of Philadelphia are holding down the paint, trying to make this run for Kansas.
Texas Tech has turned it over 17 times tonight, mostly against the zone defense.
And Terry, it sounds a little strange. You turn the ball over against the zone defense, but they just haven't been able to attack the zone with much movement.
Corey's three at the other end. Collins trying to answer, but a second chance for the Jayhawks. Kicks it off to Reed. Looked like he aimed that shot. And there's over the back foul on Marcus Morris.
Well, you take a look here. Corey deep in the corner with that elevation and nothing but cotton.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Disney Parks, where you're invited to celebrate life's special moments. What will you celebrate? And in part by Chevy, an American Revolution.
6-point lead for Tech over Kansas. Big play a moment ago. Marcus Morris over the back, picked up his third foul, and then he was teed up as we went to break. So he's got 4 fouls. Take a look.
Well, the over-the-back call, I'm not, I think that's a good call. But, Terry, right here, that's a play that everybody does. He's upset that he got the foul called. And a technical foul. And Rick Hartzell was not even the one that made the original call.
But you don't know what it is that he said. I'm not saying it had to be a technical, but we don't know what he said as he was walking up the floor.
Yeah,
that's the only variable that I'll throw into that equation. Voskuhl at the other end.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in the equation that sometimes on the road a favorite has it hard because they're at the end of the season. Things are going the way of Texas Tech right now. I've seen this happen before, and I'll leave it at that.
Bill Self has not had an enjoyable time tonight in Lubbock. So the 2 free throws at the other end for Voskuhl. A couple of big technicals here in the second half. Voskuhl made Self pay for the technical, and now he's made Marcus Morris, who's got the 4 fouls. Corey to the line. So it's 63-54. Remember, they had just cut the lead to a bucket. Aldridge back in. He's got 4 fouls.
Well, and you have to tip your hat to Texas Tech right now. They have weathered the storm. Kansas made a run, and they have found a way to keep this lead and now extend it. So both teams really battling here.
Yes, it's happened twice in the second half. Yeah. Kansas has made a run. Texas then answered. And a walking violation, giving it back to the Red Raiders. Look at the difference in the paint tonight. But 12 of 23 from beyond the arc for Texas Tech.
And that will keep you or beat most teams in the country. Yep, 12 of 23.
So Yagic back to Okori. Now you start to think as we get down to the 7-minute mark, and it's a double-digit lead, that this could be a magical night for Texas Tech.
Gotta hurry here. Shot clock under 5.
Voss with a step through. No, that's not a walking violation. You can pick up that foot. That's a taught move. You're giving me the walking violation move, and it's not.
Yeah, that's a European extra step move right there.
You can take that step, pick up the foot, and go. Collins was pushed. And the foul on Singletary, that's his second. A reminder, Bob Knight, Pat's dad, with Brett Musburger on the call. Tennessee and South Carolina in the SEC, 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night. Go ahead and log on to ESPN.com, keyword Ask Bob Knight. Pose a question to the coach, and they can answer it on the air. His son on the verge, perhaps, of pulling off a major upset here at home. Here's the banner, 880. Bob Knight's picture everywhere here in town. You go to the airport and it greets you when you walk in.
Yeah, he's got a whole wall dedicated to his coaching career. Still very much loved here in Lubbock, Texas.
The lead is 8.
Kansas goes back into a man-to-man, Terry, which is they're more accustomed to, but Texas Tech can grind you up in this half-court motion where they spread the floor so well, and either they look for threes from Bosco or Robertson can break you off the dribble.
Robertson's been playing with those 3 fouls for some time, the entire second half. Singletary gets a fresh 35. They're going to pull it back out. So Jagic, the offensive foul, a bit out of control.
Very patient defensive possession that time by Kansas. Texas Tech did some really good things offensively. So Jagic right there trying to get close. Maybe should have taken that 10-footer, but better defense by Morris.
The officials have consistently called that offensive foul all night long. Taken away by Jagic.
So Jagic leaving it on the floor, playing extremely hard, playing very good defense, denying the post entry to Aldridge.
Only plays about 8 minutes a game normally, getting a lot of time tonight against Kansas. Started a couple of games earlier in the season. Robertson breaking down Collins. O'Corey gathers it. Aldridge into the air.
O'Corey had a little hitch in his giddy-up right there.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. Wasn't quite as smooth as that last corner 3 we saw.
Taylor runs through the lane and gets fouled. So Jagic with his third. Tyshawn Taylor, who shoots 72% from the line, played for Bob Hurley at St. Anthony's, with a chance to get a couple back for Kansas.
Well, and Taylor's been really hot the last 2 games, Terry, averaging over 20 points a game, and so they've really missed his offensive output this evening with Cole Aldridge struggling.
Rounded in now with 7 in the game. Lewandowski comes back on. He's got 4 fouls.
Tyshawn Taylor's got a great story of a big brother that took him under his wing, the Big Brother, Big Sister program. Gentleman in Florida that was been very integral in this young man's rise to stardom here. And great story by Tyshawn Taylor.
Going to be a good one.
Yes.
Maybe even better than Bill Self expected here in year 1.
I think there's no question about it. Playing under a Coach Hurley, you're going to understand how the game is played.
Markieff Morris called for the reach away from the ball. That's 3 on him.
Well, watch the arms extend right there. Markieff Morris trying to get through that pick, and there's a little bit of frustration now defensively with Kansas trying to defend this passing game motion set of Texas Tech.
9th team foul on Kansas, so the double bonus the rest of the way. 16 fouls on Texas Tech so far. 7 for 7 for Corey from the line tonight. And remains perfect, 8 for 8. 5-minute mark of this game. And it's an 8-point lead at home on senior night for Texas Tech. They're on their feet. Offensive foul on Markieff Morris. That's his 4th. How many offensive fouls have we seen in this game tonight?
Yeah, it's amazing that a lot of contact is being called away from the basketball, Terry.
I know. Markieff goes to the bench. His brother Marcus comes back in with 4 fouls.
So Kansas going to have to find a way here with foul trouble on their front line. Tyrell Reed and Taylor really not finding the range offensively. They're going to have to win it on this end of the floor.
Singletary takes it right up into the face of Cole Aldridge.
That's what you do to a shot blocker. You go right through their chest, up through their chin. Singletary with that wide body getting it done.
Timeout, Kansas. They're down to 1 timeout. The number 9 team in the nation in trouble on the road in Lubbock.
Well, and the story of this game has been the 3-point shooting of Texas Tech. They've really extended their range, and that half-court offense of theirs, they found openings often, Terry, through the seam.
This is a team that was beaten in Lawrence last year, 109-51. That's the largest margin in a Big 12 regular season game.
But look at that last line. You talked about that early in the game. Your mental imagery. Remember you said that, Terry?
Yep.
Your mental imagery is that the last time you were in this building, you lost. And so there's certain buildings, there's certain styles of play that each team in each conference struggles against.
For no reason sometimes.
Yep.
And that's just in your mind. Trying to get it out of their mind in the last 4.5 minutes now. Collins, as they run that weave out front. Sharon forces it in the lane, gets it back. Can't get it to go. Aldridge, he can't get it to go. Morris tips it up. Texas Tech, and a reach-in foul on the Red Raiders. O'Corey picks up his 4th foul. What a sequence, though.
Well, if you get this kind of effort for the last 5 minutes, I think Kansas could find their way back in this game. That's 2. 3 offensive rebound attempts right there by Kansas.
And Kansas in the second half has almost evened it up in terms of the rebounds. They really got crushed on the glass in the first half. Much better job. Make your free throws, though. Especially on the road late.
Yeah, 10 down with a little bit more than 4 to go. You really don't have much margin of error. And so Marcus Morris, a freshman, finds himself in unfamiliar territory.
Blocking foul on Morris, and that'll do it for him.
Number 22.
Couldn't get his feet in front of Singletary, and that's the 5th foul on Marcus Morris.
And watch Marcus Morris try to draw this foul. Now watch Cole Aldridge come down, and looks like he twisted an ankle or something, Terry. Take a look right there.
Oh, yeah.
And he came up hobbling a little bit, so if you didn't think it could get any worse for Kansas, it just did.
Now he's out there, loosened up the laces, now tying them back up. He came down on a teammate. So Morris out, 11 points, 8 rebounds, but now 5 fouls. Another reminder, final edition of Thursday night. Coming your way, Coach Bob Knight along with Brent in the SEC for Tennessee and South Carolina at 7 Eastern. And then in the Big Ten, number 23 Illinois to Happy Valley. Take on Penn State at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Terry, I tell you what, Cole Aldridge is going to gut it out, but that young man is hurt. He's in a lot of pain. He's grimacing over when he was at the bench, trying to walk it off a little bit.
6 points, 3 rebounds tonight for Cole Aldridge. He averages 15 points and almost 11 rebounds a game. He's 1 for 5 from the floor. That's it.
Texas Tech has swarmed Cole whenever he's gotten the basketball.
A lane violation. Nope. Oh, they're going to call the foul on Lewandowski, and that's 5 on him. So the freshman from Overland Park, Kansas, fouls out with 4:03 left.
I have a feeling we're going to see this parade to the line for the rest of the game. Both teams in some serious foul trouble.
Ishmir Rizvic, the senior from Bosnia, and the Gulf Coast Community College transfer in his final game here in Lubbock, back on the floor for Lewandowski. Aldridge gets the first one. 18 fouls, by the way, on Texas Tech, so they're in the 1-1.
Well, we're seeing the character of a Texas Tech team, but their record doesn't reflect how hard they've played, especially in the last few weeks here in the Big 12 Conference. They're going to get tested here. Kansas is not going to fold. They didn't clinch a share of the Big 12 Conference title for nothing.
John Robertson also with 3 fouls as you saw the foul trouble for Texas Tech. Prince just lost it. He's down right now, clutching his leg. Tyshawn Taylor late to get back up and down the floor for Kansas. Reed spots up for 3. Nope.
Boy, Michael Singletary has been a beast on the defensive glass for Texas Tech.
Going to check out Prince now as he hobbles to the bench.
Very similar to what Cole Aldridge had. It looked like he came down on someone's foot.
And there's a timeout on the floor. Singletary, 16 points, 9 rebounds. He's not a starter for Texas Tech. They have a 9-point lead over Kansas.
In a potential preview of the Eastern Conference Finals, LeBron James and the Cavs head up to Beantown to take on familiar foe Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics. Can King James make a statement against the defending champs? It's Cavs Celtics, Friday at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Meanwhile, back here in Lubbock, Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Disney Parks, rolls on. 9-point lead for Texas Tech. Bill Self and the Jayhawks in trouble with 3:24 left. Remember, they're 13-1. Oklahoma has lost to Mizzou tonight. Maybe it's just in the air tonight.
Yeah, something about this warm weather makes people relax a little bit, especially on the road.
Okori controls it. Now, you got to remind yourself, 3 minutes can be a long time if you're Kansas. Not to panic at this point. 3-possession game. Vasco. No longer a 3-possession game.
If Vasco can break Reed down off the bounce and elevate for 3, it just might be their night.
Collins is 3 for 17 tonight. Kansas basketball. Now your leader is Sharon Collins. He goes 3 for 17. Aldridge has only 8 points. You know it's going to be a long night.
Well, and then you see that beautiful crossover by Boston. And the announcer during the senior day, that should be over and back. Sharon Collins tipped that ball.
He sure did. That's what Pat Knight is saying. Little the rebound and the foul. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But do you have to have possession? I mean, just the tip doesn't really constitute a possession in the front court.
And that's exactly what Rick Hartzell just said.
Right.
Talking to Pat Knight there. So Kansas, one of the few breaks they've received this evening. But they have to make their own breaks right now, Terry. They are an uphill battle. Mario Little, usually very good offensively off the bench. He struggled right along with everyone else this evening.
Missed them both. Okori comes up with it, and the foul on Reed. The lead is 12. Texas Tech to the line with 2.5 minutes left. How many people saw this coming? Now, granted, you and I talked about it. Maybe a natural letdown game for Kansas on the road after beating Oklahoma, Missouri at home. In Voskuhl, a career high, almost. Career high is 30. But after they settled down in the first half, you had to believe that against a 2-12 club, they would come back.
Well, and you saw a little bit of the indecision on Texas Tech's part as Kansas started to close the lead. They got within 2 points, and they had that long drought where Texas Tech had not scored a bucket. And then Kansas goes back to the man-to-man defense, and Texas Tech gets their rhythm once again.
All right. Corey still perfect from the line tonight. 14-point lead.
It looks like Bill Self trying to move Sharon Collins off the point to get him some opportunities.
Tough shot for Collins. He has had a brutal night. He's 3 of 18. Robinson controlling as we near the 2-minute mark. Reach in foul on Sharon Collins. So John Robertson, an 83% free throw shooter, will go to the line. Look at the numbers on the junior leader from Chicago. Robertson gets the first. College basketball scoreboard coming up next on ESPN2 soon as we are done. But this is a It's a major happening in Lubbock tonight.
Yes, it is, and major happening in the Big 12 Conference where only one other team has been able to beat this young Kansas ball club. But whether Kansas can return from this deficit or not, it doesn't look good right now, but they've been beat up tonight. Cole Aldridge is injured. Morris gets a technical. Bill Self suffered a technical foul. Sharon Collins has been dismal from the field.
Taylor will go to the line. The foul on Waylon Roberts. Bennertian off the bench for Bill Self on the floor now. Young team, you mentioned that, and they will listen from this point forward when Bill Self tells them, no, you're in for it tonight. I know they're 2-12, but they've been playing well.
Right, and Bill Self seen a number of senior nights, so he knows the potential of an Alan Voskuhl and what he can do.
Jump ball. It's going to stay with the Jayhawks, but they're running out of time. So you've got the top two teams in the Big 12 perhaps losing on the same night. Oklahoma lost. No shock. They lost at Missouri. That's a tough one. But they've lost 3 games now, and this would be the second loss for Kansas. Collins, 3 for 19 now. Foul on Kansas will go to the other end. So right now, should this hold up, Kansas will be 13-2. They would have wrapped up with the loss even. Oklahoma lost a share of the Big 12 regular season.
But boy, look at Missouri. 12-3, find themselves right at the top of the Big 12 Conference. But from there on down, those 4 teams, Texas, Kansas State, I think Texas is okay. I think they're fine. But Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M still have a little work left to do.
Oklahoma State's been the hottest team around. 6 in a row. They've been terrific lately. They've got to go to Oklahoma on Saturday. Texas has to go to Kansas. And it'll be a mad bunch of Jayhawks on Saturday.
Yes.
Now, give Pat Knight credit, though. Seriously, the last couple of weeks they have played, they've never given up. They've been in games, had a tough stretch. They've played hard every game. Morningstar with the miss. Voskuhl with the rebound.
Tyshawn Taylor comes up really gimpy. He really jammed his ankle or knee into the court coming up the floor.
And just what Bill Self needs.
Yeah, he's describing it to the trainer. Watch, Terry, right there. Kind of gets his feet tangled up there. He's pulling on his hamstring. And he doesn't really want to put any pressure as he's trying to walk off. I don't want to put any pressure on that leg.
So Taylor with 9 points, a couple of rebounds. But with 1:27 left. No, that's a bad image right now for Kansas to see him hobbling to the sideline.
Well, tip your hat to the Red Raiders, and particularly that man with the basketball, Alan Voskuhl. Had an outstanding last performance here in front of the home crowd.
Voskuhl trying to add, and does. He's got another 3. Career high 32 on senior night for Alan Voskuhl. Latrell Thomas, the turnaround, buys it with under a minute. You look at the big 3 for Tech tonight, though. Voskuhl, Okori, and Singletary, 67 points combined for them.
Oh, they really were aggressive, and Singletary brought a lot of effort off the bench for this Texas Tech ball club.
So they take Taylor to the locker room, but how about the night for Voskuhl? Honored before the game, chance to say goodbye in style.
Well, he did it in the way that he made his name in this conference with the long ball. Boy, he was feeling it. Coach getting all his seniors in that night.
And everybody on their feet here in the United Spirit Arena. They're calling for Vasco to shoot it again. He says, why not? Unbelievable.
Well, that's quite a display. I know Kansas and Coach Self are not happy about it, but young man's last time on this floor.
Pat Knight is going to call a timeout to savor this one and let the seniors savor it.
Oh, amazing display by a team that's been showing a lot of heart for the last 2 weeks, talking about Texas Tech.
Vasco a senior, Soljagic a senior, Prince a senior. Rizvich also a senior, along with Roderick Craig, with his dad Roger watching tonight. He knocked down a 3 in the first half. That'll do it. Texas Tech able to pull off a major upset over number 9 Kansas. Awfully impressive. Every time Kansas made a run, they had an answer.
Yeah, Texas Tech would not be denied, similar to the way that we've seen the last couple of weeks.
(84-65) your final score. Kansas falls to 13-2 overall in the Big 12, even though they do wrap up a share of their 5th straight Big 12 regular season title. Stephen Barnell, I'm Terry again, and so long everybody from Lubbock,